I never thought one sentence could burn 5 years of love to the ground. But the words, "you're not in her league," weren't even hers. They belonged to her coworkers. And somehow, she believed them more than she believed me. My name's Noah, and this is how the woman I loved for 7 years walked away because of other people's opinions, begged to come back 4 hours later, and still lost me forever. We met in high school, back when love felt easy and forever was a word we didn't question. Her name was Lila. She was everything people noticed first: bright eyes, that kind of smile that makes a room feel lighter. I wasn't anything like her. I was the quiet one, the type who fades into the background but remembers everything. I used to think that balance was what made us work. She was the fire, I was the calm. And for a long time, it did work. We went to each other's proms, held each other through exams and family fights, and all those little growing pains that shape who you become. She said I made her feel grounded, like home, and I believed that meant something permanent. After graduation, we took different paths, but kept our promise to stay together. I went to college, double majored, built a stable life I could be proud of. Lila went to cosmetology school and ended up working in an upscale salon. We talked about moving in together, maybe even marriage. She already had a Pinterest board filled with wedding ideas. She didn't know I'd already been saving for the ring. I even designed a box myself. It was made of oak, engraved with our initials, 2 buttons inside, one for yes, one for no, and tiny lights spelling out, "Will you be my forever?" I thought it was perfect for her, for us. The first time I heard her mention her coworkers' comments, it felt small, harmless even. We were eating takeout, her phone buzzing nonstop, when she said, "My coworkers keep asking why I'm with you. They say I could do better." She laughed like she didn't mean anything by it, but I could hear the echo in her voice, the kind that lingers when someone's words hit a nerve. I smiled anyway, told her they didn't know us, that they were just bored. She shrugged and said, "Yeah, you're right," and we went back to eating. But it didn't stop. Every few days, she'd say something new. One of the girls said I could easily date a guy who drives a BMW. Or they said you're sweet, but not exactly exciting. I'd laugh it off, but each time, something in her eyes changed, a flicker of doubt I pretended not to see. I didn't want to be the jealous boyfriend who made a big deal out of gossip. I trusted her. That was supposed to be enough. A few weeks later, she started hanging out with them more. Group dinners, drinks after work, salon events that always seemed to end late. I didn't say anything because I wanted her to live her life. Love isn't about keeping someone locked up. It's about trusting they'll still choose you even when other options exist. At least, that's what I thought. Then one night, after a perfect date, everything cracked. We'd gone out for sushi, laughed about old shows we used to watch, even talked about apartment listings. I dropped her off, leaned in for a kiss, and she just froze. "Noah," she said quietly, "I think we should take a break." It felt like my chest caved in. "What? Why?" She couldn't even look at me. "I don't know. I've just been thinking. My coworkers keep asking why I'm still in such a long relationship when I haven't tried anything new. And, I don't know, it's making me doubt things." I stared at her, waiting for the punchline, but it never came. "You're breaking up with me because of what your coworkers think." She bit her lip. "No, it's not that. It's just, maybe they're right. Maybe I settled too early." That one sentence shredded everything. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just said, "Okay," turned around, and walked to my car. I didn't cry. Not yet. The shock was louder than the pain. For hours later, my phone started exploding. Missed calls, texts, voicemails. "Noah, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. Please pick up, please. I love you." I was just confused. By morning, she'd sent over 50 messages. She said she was quitting her job, cutting off her coworkers, anything if I just talked to her again. But I didn't answer. I needed time. I needed silence. For the first time in years, I turned off my phone and drove until the city lights disappeared. I found a quiet lakeside spot with Wi-Fi and enough space to breathe. I told my boss I'd be working remotely for a while. He agreed. He probably heard something in my voice that told him not to ask. 2 days later, he messaged me for an urgent Zoom call. When I joined, there were 2 police officers behind him. My stomach dropped. They said someone had requested a wellness check after I went radio silent. They'd gone to my apartment and found it empty. My boss told them I was safe, working remotely. I had to reassure them I wasn't in danger. Lila had told our friends she was afraid I'd done something to myself. She wasn't wrong to worry, but she was too late to help. That same night, her parents reached out. I'd always been close with them. They loved me like family. Her mom asked if I could come by. I didn't want to, but I also didn't want to be a coward. So I went. When I pulled up, Lila ran out the door crying. She wrapped her arms around me before I could react. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I let her hug me, but didn't hug back. When she tried to kiss me, I turned my face away. Inside, her parents sat across from us, both looking heartbroken. For 10 minutes, no one said a word. Then she started crying again. I don't know why I did it. They just got in my head. They made me feel like I was missing out, like I could do better. But I don't want better. I just want you. I looked at her and said quietly, "Do you even hear yourself?" She wiped her tears. "I made a mistake. Mistakes are spilling coffee, Lila. What you did is different. You let strangers convince you that love has a ranking system. You let them talk about me, about us, and you didn't stop them." She shook her head. "I tried. I told them to stop. For a day," I said. "Then you let it happen again. You didn't defend me. You didn't defend us. That tells me you were starting to agree with them." She broke down, saying she was sorry, that she'd quit the job, that she'd prove she loved me. But I couldn't believe her anymore. You can't prove love after you've thrown it away, just because someone told you it wasn't enough. She asked why I walked away that night without fighting for her. I told her, because 2 sentences from you undid everything I thought we had. You made me question my worth and our entire future in one breath. I couldn't fight for someone who didn't fight for me. Then I told her the part that gutted both of us. I reached into my bag and pulled out the ring box. "Do you know what this is?" She shook her head, eyes wide. I pressed the yes button, and the tiny lights inside spelled out, "Will you be my forever?" She burst into tears when she saw the ring. "I was supposed to propose next month," I said. "Now it's just a box." Her mom started crying too, and even her dad looked furious, but not at me. He stared at her like he couldn't believe what his daughter had done. I told them all that I needed space. 3 months, minimum. No contact. No messages. No apologies. I needed to find myself again before deciding if she even deserved to be in my life. When I left, she begged me to stay. I said quietly, "You wanted to see what life without me feels like. Don't stop now." I walked out with the ring still in my hand. For weeks, I kept busy with work. I went to therapy, talked with friends, rebuilt my routine. The silence felt strange at first, then peaceful. I started sleeping again. I started laughing again. Sometimes, I'd still open my phone to see dozens of unread messages from her. Sometimes, I'd listen to her voicemails, crying, apologizing, saying she'd never stop loving me. But it didn't change anything. When I finally saw her again, months later, she looked like a ghost. Thinner, quieter. The confidence she once wore like armor was gone. She'd quit the salon, cut ties with all her coworkers. She told me she'd started therapy, that she'd realized how easily she'd let people control her. I wanted to feel happy for her, but all I felt was numb. She asked if there was still a chance for us. I told her the truth. There was once. But every time I think about what you said, it kills that chance a little more. You didn't just break my heart. You made me feel like I wasn't worth choosing. And now, even if you came back, I'd never stop wondering when you decide I wasn't good enough again. She cried quietly. I didn't comfort her. Love used to make me want to fix her pain, but now it just reminded me of mine. After that, life went on. I focused on my health, my work, my friends. I thought the story was over until I collapsed one day from a seizure. Turned out, I had a brain tumor pressing on my optic nerve. I woke up in a hospital bed, surrounded by beeping machines and blurry faces. And there she was again, asleep on the visitor couch. For a moment, I hated her for being there. Then I felt something else, grateful, confused, terrified all at once. She woke up when I moved. "You're awake," she whispered, rushing to hold my hand. "I'm not going anywhere, Noah. Not again." Her parents had called her when they found out. She dropped everything and rushed over. For days, she stayed by my side. She brought me food, talked to doctors, even convinced her family to offer me a place to recover after surgery. I didn't know what to say. She looked at me like I was still hers, like nothing had changed. But everything had. When the doctor said they could remove the tumor, I nodded. Lila started crying again. "I can't lose you," she said. And for the first time, I realized she already had. Surgery went well. I woke up groggy but alive. She was there again, smiling weakly. "See? You're okay," she whispered. I prayed every night for this. I didn't respond. I just stared at her, remembering every moment that led here, every cruel comment she let poison our love, every doubt she chose to believe. I didn't hate her anymore, but I couldn't love her either. A few weeks later, her parents invited me to stay with them while I recovered. I said yes. Not for her, but because I trusted them more than anyone else. Lila and I lived under the same roof again for a while, but it wasn't the same. The silence between us said everything. She'd try to talk. I'd answer politely. She'd try to laugh. I'd just nod. One night, she said, "You know I still love you." I smiled sadly. "I know, but love isn't enough anymore." She looked at me like I'd stabbed her, but it was just the truth. You can love someone deeply and still know they're not right for you anymore. You can forgive someone and still never let them back in. When I finally moved out, she hugged me at the door. "Can we ever start over?" she whispered. I shook my head. "We already had our story, Lila. This is just the epilogue." And then I left for good. It's been months since then. I still have the ring. I couldn't bring myself to sell it, but I won't give it to her either. It sits in a drawer, a reminder that love can be beautiful and brutal in the same breath. People sometimes ask if I'd ever take her back. I tell them no, because the truth is, she didn't just leave me once. She left me every time she let someone else decide my worth. If I learned anything from this, it's that love dies the moment respect leaves the room. And when someone shows you they can be persuaded to doubt you, believe them. Because the next time, you might not survive the fall. That's how 5 years ended in 4 hours, and how, in the end, I learned that the people who let others talk you down will never be strong enough to stand beside you. And if you ever hear someone say you're not in their league, just remember, leagues are for games, love isn't one.